We immediately began setting up equipment, moving in large crates of stuff.
I was just floored at how much hardware was there.
We got a network connection so that we could actually start communicating with other people.
The dynamic environment of hooking to companies you've never hooked to, seeing a message you've never seen before, made you want to do it more and more just to prove that you could.
The first few hours, it was like, God, is this thing going to work?
Murphy was there with us. Anything that can go wrong will.
On Tuesday, we lost power for the entire day. So instantly, our integration schedule was shortened by 1/7.
The air conditioning in the van wouldn't work. And of course, we have computers in the van that are driving video displays.
The network was faulty. It was broken in numerous places. We didn't know where it was.
Sunday night before the demonstration, I think 5 out of the 8 legs were either run over by heavy equipment or cut by a carpet cutter.
It was now dark, the stores are closed, and time to fix it.
Hey, Brian, this is Fitzsimmons. We got the best and brightest here. Yeah. I can't believe the answer is no.
We've been talking.
People started scratching in their back pockets and their little cabinets and foot lockers that they brought with them.
What's a BNC connector?
Well, we got it goes like that.
General Vesely scrambled the troops and sent out tons of folks to help us.
I think we got the last piece of the network screwed together at 5 minutes of 1 o'clock in the morning.
Monday morning at 5 a.m. was the first time that we all turned on our simulators and we're all connected on one network.
They had their first practice just a few minutes before the real demo was to go on.
Might mention that the net came up sometime this morning. I think it was about 15 or 20 minutes ago. I sure wish we had had a rehearsal.
Damn, it worked.
It was a miracle, really.
We've let the genie out of the bottle. The future will never be the same.
The significance of the ITSEC conference was it was the first time where industry and government got together and was able to demonstrate the interoperability of various applications on one medium.
It's the first time that there was ever this large a number of dissimilar heterogeneous simulators in the same place that were trying to use the DIS standard.
The ZSU that just got blown up by air.
When you bring that down onto that side,
We had meetings with the engineers from the various companies over a period of about 6 months, once a month, and made a bunch of agreements on how much of the standard we were going to implement.
The University of Central Florida Institute for Simulation Training served as a focal point both for organizing and executing the demonstration.
It was a team event we all planned. We, the companies who were involved, we planned the event. We weren't told what to do or how to do it, and we wound up helping each other achieve a common goal.
The advantages of this technology is that it's an open architecture. Commercially available hardware and software can be used to create a DIS network. No one company, no one organization owns the rights to a DIS network configuration.
If there's not an open standard, then the military will end up buying small pieces to do part of a job from one company and small pieces from another company, and they won't play together.
And that's really what open systems environments are all about, is trying to establish those architectures and standards that allow the individual markets to work in a very cost-effective manner and still take great advantage of that competitive and creative commercial market that we have.
Most of these simulations have been developed for some other purpose. They were not developed for this demonstration.
The magic carpet helps transport us to any point in the environment that we want to visit.
It started in the southwest corner of the database, an airplane flying over 3 ships. then going up into the battlefield, seeing first the artillery, then the mortars, the helicopters, the tanks.
There were 2 Su-25 aircraft flying from the enemy area toward friendly assets. And the Patriot's role was to engage those 2 aircraft with the Patriot missile.
You would see perhaps a tank and a Bradley next to each other. Then you could walk down the conference hall and stop in at the booth where someone was generating the tank, see exactly what it looked like from their viewpoint.
I think it was very obvious to everyone that it was a live demonstration because they were, in fact, attached to an F-18. And I believe the pilot thought that they weren't watching him anymore and his portion of the demo was over.
He seems to be having a ball flying that aircraft. This particular airplane turned upside down and crashed into the ground, and the audience all gasped at that.
I think it was actually a nice touch because it showed that everything was really live and that it wasn't a canned demo at all.
Now, you cannot say that I didn't warn you that he was an Aggie. We talk about the synthetic environment, and most people consider that to be virtual environment, just the simulators. But we're talking about 3 aspects. We're talking about live, we're talking about virtual, which brings in simulators, and then constructive, which brings in the war games, the 2-dimensional war games. While we didn't ask them to do it, Loral came up with a live demonstration with a tank. The director of the Joint Staff, General Vasilio, control a tank that was showing on screen in San Antonio, Texas, but actually physically located in California on a test range.
We instrumented the turret, the gun barrel of that tank, as well as the general position of that tank. In feeding back information from the conference floor, we also sent targets to that tank so that that tank could fire at those simulated targets. So it was a demonstration of seamless simulation.
I suppose they could say that they had actually the real terrain since they were actually live on Hunter Liggett and we were on a terrain database on a computer. Everyone is now trying to use the same network protocol and create systems that can actually just hook up and play together instead of everyone creating their own protocol and then someone else having to come along and creating a translation box so that the 2 can talk together.
The government's intent is to buy networked interoperable simulation, and I have been waiting for the opportunity that we could demonstrate to industry that that through their cooperation and their hard work that we were able to build this common environment.
The DIS protocols are growing to include emissions and acoustics and other things that will allow you to model more of the real battlefield, pull together more tactical systems, and just enlarge the electronic battlefield.
The Defense Department's future acquisition process is going to be driven by modeling and simulation. I think in the next 10 years, you're going to see that the majority of new systems are both designed and tested in a synthetic environment prior to ever bending the first piece of metal.
Distributed simulation's always been a neat idea, but I think we all brought it down to the level that, yeah, it's practical and feasible.
There was a convergence of a tremendous number of parties sharing a common and mutual interest in making these shared environments a reality.
You really get a feeling of satisfaction and also having been part of a team.
It's a milestone event on the part of the Defense Department, and I think a milestone event for distributed simulation.